Make this gigantic, lightweight, and easy to store catacomb wall with me. Let's go! These days when I make my Halloween props, they must fulfill 3 criteria. They have to have a big impact, they need to be easy to store, and they have to be lightweight so that I can lift it on my own. So my first criteria is big impact, and I think I ticked that one off. My second criteria is easy to store, and that one I ticked off before I even started the prop. I actually measured the space where it's going to be stored, and then I based the design on that measurement. My third criteria is that it's lightweight, and let me show you how lightweight this prop really is. I am lifting that so easily. I can even flex a little bit. But look, that is, I don't know, maybe between 5 and 8 kilos, I would say, if that. So this wall is actually one of 3 panels that I'll be making. This is the middle panel, and the other 2 panels will continue those arches of skulls and the skulls along the middle and the bottom as well. My design was based on this picture of the Paris catacombs. And here's a few extras to give you some inspiration of what you want your design to be. It's a good idea to at least have a rough concept of your design going in, because that's going to determine what kind of bones you're going to need and how many you're going to need. Though it's pretty safe to say that you're going to need a lot of bones. So the question to ask yourself is, are you going to buy the bones or are you going to make the bones? If you do decide to buy them, you'll need to cut your skulls in half, though do hold on to the back because many catacomb walls actually use the back of skulls. And if you do decide to make your own bones like I did, then you're going to need a lot of milk bottles. Now, skull forms are easy enough to come across, but femurs are a little bit trickier. My dog actually stumbled across the cow bone that I used, so I was pretty lucky. But for those who are not quite as fortunate as I am, then I have a list in my description of companies that can supply you with femur bones. That sounds creepy. I mean femur bone replicas. The rest of the materials are fairly simple for this project, and you'll find a full list in the description. The first step is measuring, cutting, and laying out your timber. I was originally going to brace the frame, but after I made it, it became quickly clear that this was an unnecessary step, as the frame is actually rigid enough without it. Now grab your strap nails, and you're just going to hammer them into all 4 corners of one side of the frame. Cut your weed matting so that it's bigger than the frame, and then place your frame on top of the matting. This will stop it from blowing away, and believe me, I learned this the hard way. Another mistake I made that you can learn from is that I have already hammered my strap nails into both sides. But don't do that. Use the strap nails to secure the weed matting, and then you can simply staple gun all the way around the outside. If you do decide you want to make your own bones, I have a full tutorial on this on my YouTube channel, which I will link to. But here's a really quick overview of me making one of the femur bones, and then the painting and staining process. I had my heart set on an ultra-realistic Parisian catacomb wall, and for that I needed to make a cross. This actually did work in my favor a bit though, because it really takes up a lot of space on the wall, which means you need fewer bones. Because I'm using offcuts of XPS foam that I had lying around, I had to do a lot of gluing together to get the shape of the cross that I wanted. But if you're just using one piece of XPS foam, you can simply cut it out at this stage. I wanted my cross to curve out at the bottom, the top, and the sides. So I'm just measuring out how I want to create that shape in the cross. And then I'm simply going to cut it out, first with a hacksaw to get into those curves, and then with a standard saw. I'm using my Sureform tool to round off all of the edges and give it a more natural look. And then I'm going to get some joint compound or putty, and I'm going to fill in all of the joins so that it's a seamless, smooth finish by the end. The good news is you only need to do this on one side. To age your cross, wet it down with some water and then go over it with your heat gun until it looks as old as you want it to. If you've got join lines like I do, don't heat it too much around that area because you can split it open at those joins. Give your cross a light sand, remembering to smooth out the joint compound, and don't forget about the top and the sides of your cross. And finally, you're going to paint your cross. I'm using an exterior paint here simply because that's what I have lying around, and then I'm going to go in with a white paint, and I'm going to do that a little bit blotchy so that you can see some of that grey exterior paint showing through. And finally, to give your cross that realistic look, make yourself a mixture of brown paint, dark green paint and water in a spray bottle. Then wet your cross down and spray on your paint. Keep building up these layers until you get the final look that you're going for. Now that I've finally finished making all of my separate elements, I'm laying out my design one more time just to make sure I'm happy with it. And then grab your spray foam and start gluing all those elements down. Make sure you've marked your center lines both on the cross and on the wall so that when you've spray foamed your cross and you're flipping it over, you know exactly where you're going to place that cross. I want my cross to be slightly more raised than the bones lying around it, so I'm using some spare foam to prop up the cross at the top and the sides. A hot tip for you to save money on spray foam and to recycle a little bit is to use bits of old foam or styrofoam to fill as many of the holes that you can. So my skulls are hollow, so I'm wedging it into the skulls, and also the femur bones are hollow. So if there's a gap, I'm filling it with styrofoam or old foam that I have lying around. Once you've got your skulls, bones and cross glued down, just go back in with your spray foam and fill in gently with a light touch all of the gaps surrounding the skulls. We are so close to finishing now. All we've got left is painting. For this step, I just went in with some black spray paint. I used a piece of cardboard to mask where I didn't want the paint to go, but really I didn't mind if a bit of black splashed onto any of the bones. It just adds to the look. Once I'd finished spray painting, I didn't feel like it needed any further painting, but you could definitely go in and add some highlights with grey or white or even a touch of red if you wanted to give it an extra creepy look. And there you go, a finished Catacomb wall Parisian style. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of this project. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more Halloween content, and I'll see you next time.